Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I'm going to show you how to plan a flight route in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We have our beautiful globe right here. We're on the main menu. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on Free Flight. And then we have our globe right here. It's nighttime right now, so we got the city lights right there. We got our aircraft type, which is a Boeing 737 MAX 8. We're going to click on that on the United Airlines livery. And then that will take us to our hangar where I got a whole bunch of airplanes, but we'll use the MAX for this one. Click Configure or F on your keyboard. To exit, click Save and Exit and click Escape or ESC. And then we got our N number right there, which tells us that our plane is from the United States. United is our airline, and then 10 is our flight number. So we'll type all that information in. We're on the identification section. If you want to go to different sections, just click on it and then save and back or ESC. Click that again to go back to the globe. We are on the passenger variant of the MAX 8 by Osobo Studio. If you want to make changes, just click on it, and now we're back. So we're gonna click on Portland International. That's where we're gonna start our journey. It's nighttime, that's why we got the city lights turned on. We got layout of the airport. We're gonna start at Gate E2 because United operates out of the E concourse at PDX International Airport in Portland. So we're gonna click on that and then click Set as Departure. We got our airport information, visibility 9 nautical miles. Clouds are 1,068 feet above our head. No wind reported in sight, and the airport is VFR, which means clear skies. We got clouds. All those white things are clouds. So we're going to go down and set our arrival for SFO, San Francisco International Airport. It says arrival. We got their airport information. And we got a line to represent a straight line. And then we got up here is our information. We got 672.05 gallons. Distance is 492 nautical miles between the two cities, or 450 miles if you're driving. Flight time is estimated 1 hour, 57 minutes and 53 seconds. Is that for sure? No, that's just an estimate of what a realistic time might take. So we got our arrival there. We have a prop plane arrival set up. That's obviously not what we're going to use because we don't need to overfly the airport and do all that because we are not a prop plane. We are an airliner. So we're going to be coming in just like the rest of them. So yeah, we can't be cutting 90-degree turns like that on an airliner. That's just not going to be possible. So we're going to click Start Flight so we can edit our flight plan. And so it's going to zoom us into the Earth, and we will spawn on the ground in walk around mode because it's going to think that we're doing our pre-flight checks, which we're not. But that's just how we get into our game right here. So you click Start Flight or Control Enter on your keyboard. It is now loading into zooming us into the Oregon night sky. So as you can see, it's loading us in, zooming in. There we go. There is us on the ground. Airport lights are taking over. We're gonna wait for those ground textures to start to get in. Right there. There we go. Perfect. And then click Ready to Fly. And we spawn on the ground as a little pilot human, but we're not doing our pre-flight checks because we're not actually flying anywhere. There's another airplane over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump on in, get started, click on the door, and we will now spawn in the cockpit. We have our flashlight on. There's our co-pilot right there. If you don't want flashlight, just click the batteries and that'll light up the plane. We won't need that, but we're not lighting up the batteries because we're not actually going anywhere. That'll be on the overhead panel somewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to go at the top of the toolbar, click on that iPad looking logo thing right there. That will get us to editing. So click Flight Planner. And then that will spawn us in right there. We have a straight pink line. There's our little scale down there for our map. So to get editing, we will click on that's our departure right there. So we'll click another waypoint, let's say ADDUM, and we'll click add to flight plan. And as waypoint, there we go, perfect. Now we got a big straight line out of PDX. And let's say we want to start turning westbound, so we'll add a westbound waypoint, add to flight plan, as waypoint after our last one. There we go, just like that. So we are now flying south, but let's say we don't want to fly directly over the Cascades, we want to fly along the coast. So let's find a waypoint near CEC or Crescent City. So we'll click on refix. It's not refixing anything, that's just the name of the waypoint. And then we'll click add to flight plan as waypoint after our last one. And now we are right over the coast rather than flying over the Cascades. But let's say there was a storm over there, we go on the other side of Klamath Falls right there. But since it's clear sky night, we're not gonna be doing that. So we're sticking over to the coast of Oregon and California. So then we're gonna do the same for our arrival. We don't wanna go directly over the city right out there. So we'll just head over the bay, just like all the other planes do. Click add to flight plan as waypoint. Then after our last one, there you go, just like that. And then do more waypoints over the bay. So we'll get lined up with runway 28 right. That's our arrival runway. Sticking close to there. There we go, add waypoint. Just like that. And then we'll add our last one right there. Just like that. But when we get closer, air traffic control will get rid of all that prop plane nonsense that we do not need for an airline flight, because it wants us to overfly, make sure the runway's not broken or something, but it's an international airport, so it's well maintained. So we won't be doing that, but it just is there. So we just go right from NEPIC straight into runway 28 right. Air traffic control will give us the clearance to land, and we will do so. So now going back out, as you can see, we're not flying over the mountains, but if there was a storm, we would go on the east side of Klamath Falls over like Central Oregon and then into the California Valley. That's not what we're doing tonight since we have good weather and we don't really need to. And we're not flying over the Cascades where all that turbulence comes in to play and all that stuff that we do not need for this flight. So yeah, let me just go over some of the geography of this flight. We got the Willamette Valley right there. Cities along the way would be CVO or Corvallis. There's Mount Hood right there. There's our departure, runway 10 right, and then we'll come out, go over Eugene, and then Roseburg. There's Medford right there. Klamath Falls I mentioned earlier. Crescent City I mentioned earlier. Eureka, and then come down over Santa Rosa and into SFO Bay, where we will land at the airport right there. So yeah, that's just some of the basic geography of this flight. So that is how you plan a flight plan over in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Is it different in 2020? Not sure. Can't really remember because it's been almost a year since then. So, I can't go back and check it out since I don't have the game anymore. But this is obviously a flat map on the tablet, so I'm going to show you what a flight plan from, let's say, New York City to somewhere in Europe, let's say Amsterdam. You're not going to go straight across the Atlantic because that's not safe if something were to happen. So you'll go up over Canada, over Greenland, north of Iceland, come down over the UK, and into Amsterdam you will go because the Earth is round, so you will not fly straight across. It's actually a straighter line flying over Canada, over Greenland. So, but it's a tablet, it's a flat map, it's not perfect. Whatever. And then we got statistics. We got my flight hours, distance flown, total landings, total takeoffs, total airports visited. And then aircraft information, 737 MAX 8 under the passenger configuration, mentioned that earlier. 455 knot cruise speed. Boeing is the manufacturer. Osobo Studios. We are on the United Airlines livery. There's some other stuff that we do not need for a basic tutorial. So we'll go to settings. That's iPad configuration if you don't want the iPad vertical or you want it smaller or something like that. And then we got our apps right here. I'll go back to clicking Flight Planner, the little compass logo. There's where you would search up a new waypoint if you can't find the name of one, you want one. You could also put city names in there like Seattle or LAX, and then you'll get a drop down, and then you'll just click the one you want if there's more than one LAX, which there shouldn't be, but you never know. Then you got flight details, payload and fuel, navigation log, and clipped charts right there. No notifications, because I guess no one likes notifying me. As you can see on the bottom left, or on bottom right, sorry, you got a whole bunch of the map configurations if you don't want satellite imagery or something like that. You do not have to. As you can see, we avoided the Cascades, going over the Lamp Valley, over the coast, and into SFO Bay to San Francisco. We got our date up there, October 28th. It's actually the 27th. It thinks we're on the other side of the international date line, which we are not. It thinks it's Tuesday. It's actually Monday. The year is correct, 2025. It thinks it's 4:27 p.m. It's actually 9:27 p.m., the time that I'm filming this. So, time's a little off, but I can still understand it and see what it means. It knows. It just doesn't show it on there. And then, yeah, that's really our flight plan. We're landing on runway 28 right, land, and then air traffic control will give us a gate number. Once we exit the runway, we'll go to one of those terminals over there at San Francisco. And yeah, that's just a basic overview of how to plan a flight. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than that, but those are just the basic stuff of planning a route in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. Not really much else is there to planning a basic flight route. Yeah, that is pretty much it for planning a flight. We got our plane up there, a lot of other planes, traffic in the area, and that should be it.